So let's start, everyone. So we're really happy to be here and to welcome you here for this webinar, information webinar about BPF, the Business Partnership Facility. My name is Mélanie Buniondia. I'm in charge of communication on the project. And the presentation will be done by Danielle Geltz, who is in charge of the a larger project. She's coordinator in charge of private sector engagement funds, and Angeline, who is the project manager of the BPF directly, who will be more of the person you will be in contact with. As I shared in the on the side, please feel free to add any element in the chat. Any question in the chat, we will have the presentation, and at the end you will be able to ask any questions. For the moment, your microphones are all on mute. We will try to open the microphones to people, and please, if you have any question, feel free to raise your hand with the button. I think that's it. I will feel free also to ask any questions in the chat from now on, and we will be happy. I will try to answer the questions as far as I can in the chat, and if not, it will be at the end. So I will leave the microphone to Angeline now. Sorry, to Danielle first. So this meeting is recorded, and it will be on the replay will be on the website. And also just one more point that is nice, if you can put your camera on, it's better so that we can see you. It will be more like friendly to be able to see you. I'm not sure we can see all of you, but it will be better so that we have a, yeah, it's like we are alive, we are live. Thanks a lot.
Great. So let me also welcome all of you and thank you for taking the time to join us in this session. I will give a brief overview of our vision and what our project stands for. And we really believe that all of you are change makers and that we need the private sector to drive innovations for SDGs. The motto of this webinar is really, how can we pick your innovations and leverage them? We want to work with companies which clearly understand responsible business, in favor and in support of the SDGs. Our aim is really to do a collaboration with the private sector to share the costs, but also the risks of leveraging these kind of innovations. What is very, very important for us is also impact. We want to see innovations that can accelerate the SDGs, that can really bring value addition to poor populations and countries. Do no harm, of course, is one of our priorities. And we also look at future proofing. How will climate change and other social issues and risk really impact our target populations? So the project as a whole, but especially also for the BPF, we put a lot of emphasis on the impact of the innovations which we would like to support. So I invite you all, those that want to submit to the BPF, that you really think very carefully how you can crystallize what kind of impact you are aiming at. And finally, of course, additionality. We are a development agency, so we are very clear about additionality. We only support positive outcomes that would not have happened otherwise. So we are not in competition with the investment world or anything like that. Next slide. So while this webinar is about the BPF, I just wanted to flash that we have 3 tools at LuxDev, which the government of Luxembourg is financing. The first one is, of course, the Business Partnership Facility. And here, as I explained to you already, we are really looking at innovations that bring impact. This is very important for us. We target collaborative partnerships between a European private sector and an entity in the Global South. As Angeline will explain in more detail, it's open to all DAC countries for the partner in the South. And we are very open in terms of what growth stage the proposal or the innovation is. We also have two more tools, the LuxAid Challenge Fund, which is working in all LuxDev country offices. This is focusing on mature startups which already have an MVP. And then we also finally have the LuxAid Demonstration Fund, which is targeting on mature companies which are trying to scale their innovation. And that tool is working in Kosovo, Senegal, and Rwanda. So this is just a teaser of the other work which we are also doing, but the webinar is really focusing on the BPF. So I'm handing this over now to Angeline to explain in more details how the BPF works.
Yes, thank you very much, Daniel and Melanie, for the introduction and the presentation. I'm also very happy to welcome you and to introduce you our BPF mechanism further in detail and also answer your question at the end of the presentation. So for the BPF, we support innovative entrepreneurial projects that are being developed in partnership between a lead partner and a local partner. What we call the lead partner is a European company. For the lead partner, we have some eligibility criteria. We ask that the lead partner has at least 3 years of existence. We also ask the lead partner to have a turnover of minimum 500,000 has a lower turnover to apply. But then the turnover should be at least 3 times higher than the total budget of the project. We also require for the lead partner to have 5 employees, and also that they comply to the de minimis regulation. The de minimis regulation is a regulation that apply within the EU in regards of public aid granted to the private sector. And basically there is a limit of public aid that can be received within the de minimis framework. And it's so you, as a lead partner, you may not be able to receive more than 300,000 euros over 3 consecutive fiscal years. So that's for the lead partner. And then the lead partner will at least organize a partner with an entity register in a developing country. We are quite open in terms of what this entity can be. It can be either private company, startup, or more mature company, but also public entity, research center, organization for the civil society, NGOs. We are really open on the type of entity for the local partner. Together, the lead partner and the local partner will form a project that has to be innovative and also commercially viable, and will demonstrate some impact, positive impact on the environment and on the society. We are quite open in terms of maturity of the project. It can be either a feasibility study, a pilot project, a more mature project related to structuring food processing or production. We are really quite open about the maturity of the project. To support the project, we offer financial support, which is a co-financing that is up to 50% of the project budget, and that is also capped to 200,000 euros. And the expected outcome for our side would be to support projects that are creating impact, positive impact on society, for instance, so that will contribute to job creation, that will also contribute to the reduction of poverty, have an impact on the environment, contribute to climate change adaptation and mitigation, protection of the biodiversity, waste management, access to essential services and products. For the countries that are eligible to BPF co-financing, we are quite open. Basically, as Daniel already mentioned, is all the countries that are from the DAC list from the OECD. So it goes from least developed country to also upper middle income countries and territories. So it's quite a large list, and we don't have any preferred location as long as it has impact on the communities. Then, as I mentioned, we are also looking for impactful projects that really demonstrate that they will have an impact on the lives and livelihood of the population in the south. We are quite open in terms of thematic of the SDGs, but the project needs to demonstrate that it will have a concrete impact, and that also the project needs to really showcase that they have identified a crucial problem, and that it will develop a solution that is really relevant to tackle this specific problem. In the past, we have financed a project, for instance, related to SDG 3, related to health, also related to food production, and also project related to creation of economic growth and number of jobs created, also sustainable cities and communities. So we are quite open on the thematic as long as it contribute to the SDGs. Maybe to give you some more examples of projects we already co-finance. We co-finance, as mentioned, projects from feasibility study to also more mature solution. So this is an example of feasibility study. So it's a project that aims to upcycle the residual cocoa products for building sector in Ghana. As you may know, there is a huge potential of waste of cocoa products that is present in Ghana, as that is not used, is waste. So the architecture firm Coca, they decided together with all these partners to launch a technical and commercial feasibility study to find out if there is potential for this waste to be used in the sector in the building sector. So you can see that, for instance, this feasibility study, we have an impact on circular economy, generation, waste management, and also will be able to create job and revenue in Ghana. Another interesting project, so this one is not a feasibility study, it's rather like testing a prototype on the market. It was launched by the insurance company Ibiza. That aims to insure breeders. You know that this population are really affected by drought and climate change. So they really need to be insured so that they can at least have some revenue and recover more easily from drought and climate change. That's why the company Ibiza organize the testing of the prototype of their prototypes on the market, which is an insurance product, and they managed to insure 1,000 breeders in order for them to reduce their risk linked to climatic hazards. So it's a really good and interesting impact as well. More mature capacity projects that we already co-finance. One is in Kosovo. That is also a company called Jury Hacking for Netherlands. That is a company that produce dairy dairy capacity production. Was able to partner with a local producer of dairy product called Kosovo, because they found out that they had a specific product of milk called whey that was wasted. And so they launched a production line to use this waste and to also create diversification of products in the market. For the impact that it created, it also contribute to reduction to pollution and also food waste, circular economy. Also acquisition of new technology, diversification of the product, and it created also more job in Kosovo. Finally, another example of productive capacity project that we have is a project that was implemented between one company for Lebanon called Organic Village and another entity called Organic Valley. It's more like a cooperative in Nepal. The project was implemented in Nepal, as Nepal is a big producer of spices, but they are only sold fresh. And so the point of this project was to create a transformation chain in Nepal, so actually the agriculture can benefit from additional revenue from this transformation of spices. And we are very happy. We are very happy to hear that for the impact side, they create a lot of revenue, and for at least 1,500 producer. And also in the transformation plan, we also saw some job creation. So that's really good example of impactful project and also related to new business line and creation. Here are some key facts about the BPF. Where are the projects that we have co-finance? You can see there are a bit all around the world in developing countries. We have a lot of them in Senegal and in Burkina Faso, but as I was mentioning before, we are quite open in terms of location of the projects. BPF has been existing already we are currently launching. We already have 41 projects that we supported, and the average co-financing is 136,000 euros. So as you probably seen on LinkedIn, since you registered to this webinar, we have currently a call for proposal that is opened until the end of April. So maybe I will present you a bit more in detail how selection process works with the specific guideline for this call for proposal. But you have to also keep in mind that we have calls for proposal open twice a year. So if you don't submit for this call for proposal, then we'll have another one in October. So this for this call of proposal, so it's basically a two-stage selection process. The first stage is the submission of the concept notes. That is quite a short document, but that needs also to demonstrate how your project match with our selection criteria and our vision. It also needs to detail what is the activities of the partners and the state of the partnership. So you have until the end of April, I was saying, to submit this concept notes. Once we receive all the concept notes, so after the deadline, we will organize our selection process. We check the eligibility, we auto check the CSR policy and respect of human rights for the partners. And we also analyze your project according to the selection criteria that we have for BPF. So then we have our committees that will decide if your project is pre-selected or not. Whether the response is positive or negative, you will receive, of course, a feedback from us. And if your project is pre-selected, you will be asked to submit a detailed proposal. The detailed proposal have to contain a full project description, detailed budget, business plans. And to prepare this detailed proposal, you have a bit of time. You will have until October. So usually between the time you hear that you're pre-selected and the time you have to submit your detailed proposal, you have around 4 months. Then once again, we have a selection committee. And if you're pre-selected, you are also invited to pitch your project in front of the committee to support the project and answer the question they may have. And then you will receive the selection notification if you are finally selected, and we will work on the signature of the co-financement agreements. And finally, we assume that we'll be able to start your project in February 2025. So the important thing to take into account is that from the first sending of the proposal and to the start of the project, it's about 10 to 12 months. So you have to take that into account. What are our selection criteria? I will go a bit further. I think I already explained a bit of them. So we are really focused on impact is one of our main criteria for the project. Really demonstrate that you have identified a specific problem and that your solution will concretely resolve this issue that you have identified. We also really want you to work on assessing the number of people that you will be able to impact through your project. We are looking for innovative projects. We are quite in the innovation criteria. We also pay attention to the local context. So maybe an innovation that is not that innovative in one specific context can be more innovative in a different context. We'll be looking for potential for technology transfer, know-how transfer from the lead partner to the local partner. We need to see that at the end of the project, maybe there is a plan to for the local partner to still have access to some patents, for instance, or some technology. We really want to see some training plan inside the project. As Daniel mentioned, we are looking for the additionality of the co-financing, meaning that we are not here to replace other financial sector, like more traditional sector, but to co-finance projects that would have been difficult to co-finance to finance otherwise without our co-financing. We are looking for market neutrality. We don't want to create market distortion within a specific market. We are looking for also partners' common interests. We are looking to see if the established partnership is cost effectiveness, the cost effectiveness approach, if the partners have common interests, and we are also looking if they share the risk, cost, and benefits between them. Also, the demonstration effect is quite important. We really want to see if the project be also able to integrate other actors so that it grows, it continues to evolve even at the end of the project, and that will be maybe with possible replication, or if it can be also have if it can also have a wider application. And then finally, we also be looking for respect of social, environmental, and tax norms, which is, I think, is quite obvious. So if you want to know more, you have all the details here. You have our website. It will soon change, but for now, you will find all the information that you need on our website. If you have any question, I'll be very happy to answer your question. You can send an email to this email address, and also follow us on our LinkedIn page and our Twitter page, or X page as well. So I think now we'll have a Q&A session. So I don't know. Okay, I think Melanie will moderate.
I will take over. We already have a series of questions that I will share with you. I couldn't answer them. I mean, I began to answer lots of questions, and feel free to add the questions now in the chat. So we have a first question from Cookie, who, I'm sorry if I mispronounce the name, who says the guideline states 500,000 euros, or 3 times the total amount of the proposed project in the 3 financial years preceding the year in which the call for project is launched. Is that correct? So yes. Could you give more details on that, please?
Yeah, I think, okay, we already spoke a bit about this because we already exchanged this, but yeah, I can give you some example if you want. For instance, so if you have a company that has a turnover that is higher than 500,000, you don't need to worry about this ratio. You can submit a project with the budget that you want, and but we also wanted to be more inclusive and to provide a solution for the companies that has a lower turnover to also apply. That's why we thought about this ratio. For instance, if you imagine you are a company that has a turnover over the past year of I don't know, 300,000, then you will not be able to submit a project budget that is over 100,000. And from this 100,000 which is the total budget for the project, you will be able to receive maximum 50,000 euros.
Okay, so I'm taking the next question, who is again a question from Cookie, who says, can activities be feasibility studies, pilots, demonstration, or R&D? Is there a restriction on what time of activity?
Great. So we need to see that at least the project is willing to look for commercial viability. So for feasibility study, yes, of course, you are welcome to submit some feasibility study, but inside the feasibility study, we'll be looking more for if you're also looking, I don't know, for commercial. Your feasibility study. We do not support a full R&D project, but otherwise we are open to feasibility study, also pilot, and more mature solutions.
Thanks a lot. The next question was a question from Pierre, who is asking, what are the expectations, requirements in terms of impact monitoring, frequency of reporting, duration of the IMM?
Okay, so for the impact monitoring, we developed actually a specific matrix for BPF that is also aligned with all of instruments, that is aligned on the SDGs, and we have a few more criteria. So for each project, we will define together, once your project is selected, we will define together some indicators related to impact and relation with the SDGs. Once we have defined these specific indicators for each project, you will be asked to submit a report based on these targets and indicators that we define together. The report has to be sent every 6 months, together with also a financial report that will testify from the financial expenditures that you already made within the framework of the project. And I think there were last question, impact indicators, reports, and maybe another dimension to the question, but I don't know if I got it right.
IMM, I guess. What is IMM?
Yeah, this one I don't know.
Daniel? No? Okay, Pierre, if you want to add any details in the chat so that we could understand, that would be great. Okay. Impact management and measurement. Thanks a lot, Laura. Duration of, yeah, okay. So duration of impact monitoring and management.
Yes.
Yes.
At the beginning of the project. Of course, for the less mature project, we won't have impact indicators and targets available already. But we expect that at the end of the project, we'd have some indicators and targets related to impact. And we also ask the supported project to report from the impact indicators 2 years after the end of the project.
Okay, we have lots of questions about the...
Maybe can I just add one more thing, which I think is also important to consider. The impact indicators are also linked to the release of the tranches. So it's a very careful construction which is required to make sure it works for the solutions.
We have lots of questions on the nature of the projects that could be co-finance. These are the last questions in the chat. Like, I have the feeling from Ousseinou, who says, I have the feeling that the BPF is made for projects in industries and companies busy with products like agricultural crops, food processing. I would like to know if we can submit projects in the field of cultural and creative industries or the media. This is one of them. Then we have a question about can you make some examples of the type of partnerships with local partners, considering we are a technology provider? I have a hard time understanding what the partnership is about. Will we receive the detailed presentation? Do you have to find on your own partner? So please, I think these are questions that we can answer now.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. So for the first one, I think it was related to sector. It's true that we presented a lot of projects in the agriculture sector, but we are also open to different sector. For instance, we co-finance already a project with the company BCE that I don't know, television for the setting of a television chain in Ivory Coast, and they also have now a new project in Morocco. So we are quite open to this type of project as well. Also related to the tech sector, we are also open to projects that will improve connectivity and will train also maybe partner, I don't know, with incubators to train people on having more skills related to tech. So we are quite open in terms of sector. I don't, Melanie, can you repeat the other questions? There were a question about the sector.
Where was that?
There was a question on culture and creative industries, which is not a problem for us. I think what is important for us is that there is demonstrated commercial viability. So in terms of that, we have no problems in other sectors, right?
Yes, commercial viability, innovation, and impact, and the sector is really open.
And maybe just keep in mind that the lead partner who is applying is a company, a European company. It should be a company based in Europe. So if you are a company or a potential partner based in any other country, you have first to find the applicant, so the lead partner who will be able to apply to the BPF. This is something super important. If we go back to the questions, I'm sorry, there are lots of questions. There may be some of them may be lost in the chain of questions, but we will go through. What are the requirements of the budget matching? Are there any exclusions like travel or tech, or is it just total project budget?
Total project can be are eligible. We don't have a specific requirement on the related to maybe bank. If you contract a loan, some fees related to loans that you contracted may not be eligible, but otherwise you can include expenses related to travel, related to market study, related to human resources, where used during the project duration. The only thing is that we support expenses that happen during the project duration. We do not support the expenses that have been made before or after the end of the project.
Thanks a lot. The next question is about the de minimis rule. Does it apply only when dealing with infrastructures, since the criteria mention field of road transport? So what I understand is that there is a specific rule for field of road transport, but then except from that, which has a specific amount, de minimis rule applies for every other company. Maybe if you want to give some more info on that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think this rule for specific transport, I've not seen it in the new regulation, but you need to check. So there's a general rule that applies with the de minimis, but then maybe there are some rules about specific sectors that you need to check on your own. And we used to have this specific rules on transport, but then you need to check on the last updated rules for each sector.
Thanks a lot. Check. Another question from D. Martins. Will companies only receive the more complete application forms and requirement for budget, logical frame, if after they have been selected to submit a full proposal, or can this be accessed beforehand?
No, only pre-selected companies will receive the files and the templates that we ask to fill for the complete budget proposal. Because we are reviewing it every year, so we
All right, one more question. Can you please elaborate? This is from Dritten. Can you please elaborate on neutrality of co-financing and replication of the project, please?
So the neutrality of the co-financing, we'll be looking, for instance, if on one specific market there are not like similar activities or similar companies that are doing the same activities as the project want to implement, because in that case it would create market distortion. It will favor maybe one company more than another, and we don't want to do that. What we want to do is support innovation, that a product or that is not a solution that is not already existing in the market or is not targeting the same people, and so that it does not create market distortion. And we consider that our co-financing will be as neutral as possible, although it's never really perfect, but we try to have a look on the other competitors that are already present in the market.
All right, we have a question again from Dario, because I think this was not maybe not clear enough. Can you make some examples of the types of partnerships with local partners, considering we are a technology provider? So Dario just asked the question again, so maybe we need to be clearer about regarding roles of the parties, of who is doing what.
It's a good question. I think we are quite open in terms of how you want to be organized with the local partner. What we have seen in the past that usually the lead partner will maybe be the one having an innovative technology, having a project that has been already tested in Europe, and will want to launch this project or maybe apply their solution to a different context. And the local partner will be the one like knowing very well the commercial background of the country, the market, so it concretely implement the project.
So maybe I can give an example. We have cases where, for example, a European company has AI technology, which would be interested for one of the markets which we are covering. And the local company wanted to develop a service line around that, and the European company then supports them with technology transfer in developing the service line for the market, but also for market penetration. So that would be an example of a technology transfer. And also, for example, the Ibiza case in Senegal, where a novel insurance product is transferred to one of the partner countries.
Thank you. We had one more question about about the duration of the project. How long should the project last?
We don't have strict rules, but usually the projects are between 1 or 2 years.
All right, thank you. Then we have a question from Capucine who says, what's the sustainability plan of selected projects? What happens if to the project after receiving support of BPF? Do you have a strategy to matchmaking EU companies with the co-lead? What example of project did not work? Can anybody partner with you as the BPF, making alliance with other development cooperation?
Yeah.
Great. So anybody can partner with us. We're very open. We have an open door policy. Yes, we do have failure rates in the BPF. I think any tool of this kind will have failure rate, and this is exactly the rationale which the government of Luxembourg wants to put, that we are a risk carrier together with a private sector actor. I can give you examples of failure rates where the company, for example, there were changes in laws and the product didn't work and was no longer commercially viable, for example. COVID response made a lot of especially the agricultural products more expensive. So we had a lot of problems around that, but that is a part of our risk strategy. What happens to the projects after receiving support of the BPF? As Angeline has highlighted, we do follow up at minimum 2 years after project closure to see what happened with the new tools. If any of these projects, for example, are in our focus countries, we have follow-up financing which is available if the solution is very good and needs further scaling. Do you have a strategy to matchmaking EU companies with co-lead? No, not for the co-lead. We do not have any dedicated strategies for that.
Thank you. Then we have one more question about co-financing by Pierre, who is saying, can we put other development funds as co-financing?
I would say no, because we really want to see that the partner is investing his own resources, because we are co-financing a project. So we want to see that the partners together also co-invest in this project. So we'll be looking also at if the company did not receive other funds for the same project.
Thank you. We have one more question. Is it possible to share the list of EU companies interested in to partners so we can contact them and share our ideas in agriculture field?
Yeah, unfortunately, we do not have such a list, and I think the support we can provide in terms of matchmaking is really limited. So yeah, we can't share such a list, unfortunately.
Thank you. Then one more question. Must it be a project or can it be a creation of an entity, chamber, or similar? I guess similar.
Yeah, you can create an entity. It's possible, but maybe the entity will your project, but it needs to. It's not only creating an entity; it's also like implementing the activity, developing the ITT on the entity. But you are welcome to do that by creating a new entity.
But just to underline the commercial viability, right? I mean, creation of entity of chamber is not an issue. We are very flexible around that, but commercial viability or opportunity thereof needs to be clearly demonstrated.
Thank you. Another question: if the lead wants to co-invest in the project with the local partner and share the business profit, is it possible?
Yes, of course, and that's why what we want to see is that both partners invest together, and if there is a plan to share the profit, a well-defined plan is even better. So all the partners are invited to co-invest together inside the project.
All right. On my side, I think I took all the questions.
I think there's a question around agricultural associations which are eligible. So in the European countries, it needs to be a private sector entity, but in the CUT countries, we are flexible in terms of what kind of entity we are working with.
Okay, just to be clear, the lead partner who is applying must be a European company, and the local partner could be any entity. It could be a public or private entity, but the lead partner who is applying must be a company. I see that there are new messages. Please, can we know what is the disbursement plan like if a company is selected?
Yes, for the disbursement plan, so if your company is selected, you will receive 25% of the grant at the signature of the contract. Then we have the second tranche of 50%. So the reports, you will need to have spent at least 50% of the total budget to receive this tranche. You will also need to have achieved the indicators and the targets that we defined together before the signature of the contract, and also to have implemented some RBC actions. And at the end of the project, you will receive a maximum 25% of the grant. This tranche is capped to the expenses that you currently that you actually made during the project. So, for instance, if you spend less than the project than the project budget, then you will receive less. It will be capped to the expenses that you've done.
Thank you. We have one more question about the feasibility. How is the feasibility of the commercial feasibility of the project measured? How can we make sure that the commercial feasibility is in accordance to the selection committee?
Right. So maybe I take that question. We have very wide variety of submissions, which are at different growth stages. So we do not have very clear indicators about what constitutes commercial viability, right? But the things the selection committee clearly looks at: what is the market share? Has the company like concrete indicators that there's a market share and a market demand for their products? Have they tested their products? What is the likelihood of the products taking off in the market? So it's all about how much data you can bring that there actually is the demand on the market, the assessments and hypothesis for the returns on investment. These kind of things they're really looking at, as well as the impact that the proposed innovation could achieve.
Thanks a lot, Danielle. We have one more question from Dario. So the lead and the local partner can form a joint venture that benefits from the co-investment. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Sorry, my microphone was off. Must the lead company from Europe or from European Union? It should be a European company. Any detail maybe on that? Angeline?
Yeah, exactly. So the definition is a European company.
Must the joint venture be incorporated, or can it be project-based?
It can be project-based. So what we are looking at, especially in the first stage, are there MOUs? Is there anything to really solidify the partnership? But it can be project-based, yes.
Okay, for the moment, we don't have any more questions. I think we can leave you like 1 or 2 more minutes to share questions. Just to let you know that you find all info on the BPF website, bpf.lu. I want to share with you here in the chat how to access the application form and the practical guide. Then we have the website in French and in English. We will share an email with you at the end of this webinar to share the presentation and also to share the replay of the webinar so that you have it. And the webinar will be available on the website. That's it. Any more question? Or is that good for all of you? I think we're good. So I just want to say thanks a lot. Thank you to everyone from being here and sharing your questions. We were more than 60 people, so that's great. We are eagerly waiting to have your applications, and any question, feel free to send us an email to bpf at luxdev.lu. I can just share that again here. So feel free to reach out, and that will be great. And thanks a lot for Danielle and Angeline for sharing their elements. And I hope to see you soon and to hear from you soon with very nice projects that will have an impact on the developing countries. Thank you. Have a good day.